So today's pick a card is going to be a message from Spirit. And you have 5 choices here. It's a general reading. It's timeless, so whenever you find it, it's the right time for you to have the message, if your intuition tells you that one of these picks has a message for you. So it's really dependent on your own intuition. Only take what resonates as truth or remembrance for you, and let the other things go. Remember that the general reading works where we're reading the energy of the collective who makes the choice here. So Spirit will try to give me things that are very general or abstract or sometimes even specific for the people that need to have the message come in that way. So we're just going to take a message from Spirit. We'll let Spirit lead us on what the message is going to be about, and you'll want to pick from these choices. Pick 1, pick 2, pick 3, pick 4, pick 5, and pick 6. So we've got a fluorite, a rose quartz, a selenite, a jade, a river rock, and a quartz, milky quartz. Okay? So pause the video if you need more time. We're going to start with pick 1. Okay, Spirit, what's going on with pick 1? I'm going to start with my astrology oracle here. See if we can tell us a little story about what's going on with you. Dun, 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 You're getting a more holistic view of what is Earth, what is being on Earth, what is love, what is money, sensuality, being stubborn, being steadfast. There is some healing going on, which means your perception is changing to allow you to understand something from a bigger picture view. And you are transforming through this. It may actually feel like a death rebirth cycle, like a part of you is actually integrating into you to allow you to see past it. So some of the things that were held up by the perception you used to have may be crumbling away, falling away, just not resonating with you anymore. You're growing past them. Some sort of ritual. It may be something that you had been doing pretty regularly and with other people. And it may be that you were, yeah, I got this idea that it was like looking to other people. You have perhaps changed your locus of control. You're taking your insights from within you instead of looking outside of yourself, as your habit may have been. Maybe, I was just going to say maybe you got some bad advice, but there could be a lot of different reasons why this has happened for you at this time. But it was the time for it to happen. More Taurus energy. Wow. A manifestor energy. Wow. This is allowing you to bring down and ground to earth something that you really want. Something that's important to you. Something transformative. Something deep. Something that maybe was in your subconscious the whole time. You're cleaning up. You're cleaning up. Like maybe some habits that were not helping you, not serving you. You are being tantalized towards kindred souls. So let's see. There could be two scenarios here with this. Maybe you had been being tantalized towards something that wasn't serving you, and you're cleaning that up. But also, you may also be being drawn towards like-minded souls on Earth that see the perception that you have, or that understand it from the level that you understand it from, in a similar way, or a way that is helpful to you, a way that is healthy for you. This was just the time for this to happen. You have lifted some restrictions on the way that you celebrate. The way that you celebrate is changing. These are some pretty solidified ways of feeling that are shifting for you now. Yeah, I do think that you had been betrayed. You had been drawn towards something that actually betrayed you. It could have been part of your soul's plan, because it made the fertile ground for you to grow something new. So it's like a tower moment, right? Like things kind of crumbled. You suddenly saw through something, saw it wasn't serving you, and now you have the fresh seedling kind of ready to sprout and bring you in a new direction, but you don't know what that new direction really is. There's a lot of mystery involved with it. You're stepping into more unknown. Okay, and it looks like you were maybe trying to know before. You know, things seemed really solid. You were very earthbound. Like, of course everyone's earthbound here on Earth, but when we get into the bigger perspective, the bigger awareness, letting our consciousness expand, we understand that there were more than just beings here on Earth. Yeah, you are being, it's like a spiritual awakening. You're being expanded in your consciousness to include more spiritual views. There are things that just can't be known. It's very exciting for you, though. It looks like it's very exciting, something to celebrate. Your soul is really, I think, happy about this, you know? It's like on the human level, you're probably not very happy about being betrayed. This is causing you to have to process from some difficult emotions, some sadness, some disappointment. You're accepting these parts of you that feel this way so that these feelings can be understood by you fully. There is a bigger picture view on why you were led into this betrayal. What you've seen now, you can't unsee. You can't unsee what you've seen. It's just something that's there now. And you might be interested in looking into human design, because we got human design here, and we've got a manifestor. A manifestor, it's kind of the boss. The manifestor isn't told what to do, right? Like, you have generators, projectors, reflectors, and manifestors, and manifesting generators. And one thing I know about generators is they take direction from projectors. But I know that projectors can take direction from manifestors. I'm a projector. So it's kind of like you lead the way, and all you have to do is inform people. All you have to do is tell people what you're going to do, and then you do it. So that's very interesting, and that's the importance of knowing your human design, is so that you can understand which way of operating works best with the way your energy works in your body. And it's all based on the angles where energies are affecting you, based on your date of birth and your date of conception and things like that. Yeah, so you came in to fragment in such a way that you would only see things the way that you saw them for the period of time that you saw them that way. And now you have broken through and cleared that karmic pattern. By being betrayed, it was the way to be broken out of it. It was painful, I'm sure, but now you have cleared that. You've been able to accept that this is the way it is and see it from the bigger picture view. You're gonna do something with this information. This information is going to, you'll be known for it. You'll be known for what you are shifting into and out of. Yeah. It's just part of you now. Yeah. You can't unsee it. Alright, Spirit, any advice for pick one? I'm just going to clear these out while I do the advice cards, okay? Take responsibility. So given what you've learned, it's up to you now to make and keep these changes. You know what you know, and to operate against what you know is going to be very difficult. You have to take your ability to respond to this information. Like it's not just going to magically change and clear things out for you, and there's more for you to do to utilize what you've learned. What you've learned revealed something bigger. It's your responsibility to do this. It's part of your deal for being on Earth. You're allowed to come on Earth under these circumstances and clear this pattern, and you were restricted in certain ways until you took responsibility for it. Okay? Saturn's like the timekeeper. He's like the karma keeper, you know? Interesting. We got a few here flipped over. True love. Now that you are looking at things through the lens of inside you, through your own perspective without looking to others, you have opened yourself to true love. And you can't have true love until you love yourself, and you're loving yourself now by taking responsibility, the ability to respond to what you know now, not looking outside of yourself. Look, the angels are with you, have been guiding you, want this for you. Archangel Michael is what I heard. And you may be having dreams to clue you in about what this is going to bring for you in life, and what's been happening, and what you need to pay attention to. Because if you've been having your view filtered by the karmic pattern, right, living in it, you couldn't see the biggest picture. So you may have been having dreams about where your life was going and what direction you were headed. Creative expression. So there'll be some way, you know, since you're going to be known for it, there must be some way you're going to be expressing in it. It could just be through living your life. But the advice you're being given is to express creatively. So however you've been expressing, do something different. I just heard like, oh, fear about the unknown, fear, right? Like that's what it is, though. That's part of this. It's what you came to experience. Look, you're changing things on the foundational level of who you are. And just go with what's in front of you. Just deal with one thing at a time, what's in front of you. And then receptive. The receptive mode is where you hear your creative impulse. So if you are in your masculine energy of taking action, protecting, moving forward, pushing with the will, you're not going to hear your guidance. You may still get it in the dreams, but your angels want to guide you towards true love. Wow. And it's up to you to respond to this. So being in the creative mode, like even if it's just creating art, writing a song, building something, creative expression is going to put you in the receptive mode so that you can better hear your guidance going forward. Because this awakening that you had, there's more. It's just one part of it. There's more. Okay? That's the sense and feeling I have. Wow, that's so exciting. Good for you. Although I do understand that having to traverse the ground of betrayal is upsetting, and for the human, you know, for me personally, I had to cry that out a lot, you know, over and over again, and eventually, you know, I integrated it, so it's just not, it's like now I have understanding, and I actually have I have gratitude for being betrayed, because it taught me things that I needed to know. It stepped me out of a view that I was in, a place where I was stuck, a place where I was being a vampire, where I was victimized, and that's not true. That's not who I am. I don't have to limit myself in that way. That was a perspective I tried on, and it allowed me to get betrayed. So now I've adjusted, and it would be a lot more difficult for someone to betray me because of that experience that I had. That's valuable, you know? I wouldn't trade it for anything. I love the experiences that I've been in because I know I've been well-intended the whole time. And even when the lower density reactions came out of me of, you know, and that would have only happened when I was much, much younger, but like wanting people to suffer the consequences or the karma that they put me through, I don't feel any of that anymore. In fact, it was proven to me that when someone who had betrayed me was living out some of their own karma with somebody else, where their reputation was being damaged, after they had damaged my reputation, I cried for that person. I didn't feel happy about them suffering because I understood what pain that was for them. So I have compassion for you and your situation. I understand that it's like easy for me to say, and I think that's why I'm sharing with you, so you understand that it is difficult, and it's not just like how I make it sound like, oh, just take responsibility, move through it. No, there's pain associated with the awakening, you know, but you don't have to suffer, meaning the pain will stop eventually. You have the ability to take back the fragments of you that feel powerless to the situation, to love them, to love those parts of yourself that have been hurt, that need love, right? They need love to help you lay the foundation for where you go from now, for each step that you take forward from here. And you are not alone, even though it sounds like you got betrayed and that can make you feel alone. You're not alone. Okay? Just keep loving yourself. You're going to be guided towards true love and people that can love you where you're at. And love the you that's the strong, empowered person who's a manifester, who can create. And it was probably important for you to go through what you went through so that when you knew that you could create so easily, that you would do it with responsibility, right? Because if we're very powerful creators, I'm sure you can look around in your life and see examples of people who have created things that are detrimental to themselves and others. And that is a karmic pattern that they will have to pay and understand, right? They'll have to understand that. That means that likely is something they'll have to live out the consequences of. So it's helpful in a way to be disempowered to a point where before we understand fully, and sometimes we need to have the empathy for a situation, and so we won't cause harm for others, right? Like when we're betrayed, we won't betray others because we understand that really hurts. That's not really fair. It's like not worth it, and it's like we're all powerful enough, and if we give ourselves what we need don't need to betray others. That's a little game of power play that's not even real or relevant. The only people who think it is are the people who are stuck in it and are just about to understand it from a bigger level and break out of it. That's just what's happening here on Earth. Okay? The truth can't be hidden anymore. So I hope this is helpful to you in some way. Thank you for spending your time with me. And we're going to end your reading there and move on to pick 2. Hi, pick 2. So we're asking Spirit for a message from you. So the first, a message for you rather. And oh, that's a cool reading. I should do that sometime. A message from you. Like we can practice telepathy that way, where you can click on the video and then pick a pile, and then for each pile, I'll do what message are you sending me, and then I'll tell you the message you're sending me. I love that idea. I need to write that down before I forget it. but I guess I won't be able to do that right now because my phone's across the way. Well, maybe I have some paper right here. Yes, yes. I gotta write it down, guys. I got it. Reading on your message for me. Alright, I'll do that next. Alright, thank you for your patience, pick 2. So, patience, that's interesting, right? That's got to be part of this. Spirit, can you tell us about what's going on with pick 2 right now? Please tell us what's going on with pick 2. Okay. Something which is perfectly timed. Something that was meant to happen now. And it's happening at home. It's happening in the foundation of who you are. And maybe even like your family home, your ancestry. It has to do with your ancestors. Maybe there's a gathering, a party, like an understanding, perhaps a death in the family is what I heard. Something where it's affecting the family, or you're affected by the family. It's definitely an emotional issue where things aren't clear, so that could be death for sure. There is wisdom to be gained in this situation. Something about compatible. Let's see. Maybe you're learning about a better way to get along with the people in your life, in your home, in your family. You're learning about the compatibility between you and family members. You're able to express yourself. Expressing yourself is part of this with grace. You have a sense of adventure. So that doesn't necessarily go along with the fact that someone died, but perhaps there's some traveling that needed to be done because of it. Or you are delving into speaking with spirits. That could be the kind of adventure we're talking about. Your possessions, how you make a living, and your self-worth could all be affected. So this is not something that was expected at all. Totally unexpected. Could have come as a jolt, like a shock. I think it's coming together with somebody. Oh, you're forming a foundation. This could be a marriage. This could be a union of souls that form a very emotional bond that's based on gaining wisdom, where two people are very compatible and able to express deep emotional bonds or deep emotional issues that came from the family home. And they do this with grace. They do this in the most beautiful way because they're compatible to do it, and it's an adventure. And both of their self-worth improves because of it. Oh my. There's a shaman here, so there may be some healing going on. You may find yourself expressing about healing or expressing the need to be healed. This is something that the soul has come to do. The soul's intention here on earth is carried through and being played out right now. And it's definitely coming through the emotional body, which I just heard feels like a waterfall, like it won't shut off. There's emotions flowing and it won't shut off, and you may benefit from an astrology reading. This is astro.com. That's the site that I use for looking at charts. But they have some sample free readings and things like that for beginners that might be interesting to you. But the asteroid Clytia comes out with blind desire. So you may be being led by a desire for something, and it may be love. The desire for love could be driving you at this point. There's things unclear, and we've got trickster. There's trickster energy. Interesting. So you do want to look at things a bit deeper. Maybe this is being healed. Yes, this is being healed. Okay. Well, Spirit, I need to know a little bit more about this since you're bringing me here. We've got more about Leo. The 5th house is like Leo energy. It's self-expression. And here we've got commitment, union. I'm just going to start stacking these up since they mean the same thing. And cutting ties. Starseed. Maybe to be in this union of compatible, there was a sudden breakup. Yeah, I do believe. I'm going to get the, yeah, you had been kept away from a commitment where you were very compatible that was based on wisdom. And you had to, it may have happened suddenly that you realized this, or suddenly there was a breakup. There's a nemesis here, for sure. I think you realized, this may be tied to pile 1, but I think you realized that someone was betraying you. There's more self-expression here. There's so much self-expression here of love, of shining your light, of sensuality, of loving others, of empowering others, of being empowered. It may be your birthday or someone involves birthday. But you are being reborn. We talked about that too, a rebirth. A death would be like a rebirth as well. Alright. Wow, so much about narcissism and enemies and betrayal and being tricked and not knowing the truth, but all surrounded. It's encompassed in healing energy. All of those issues are being cut off and healed. Wow. Yeah, and it feels like Pandora's box. It feels like a bunch of chaos because now nothing is the same. But this is, you're a starseed. You came to do this. You came with high intentions. This is Sophia. This is starseed. These are like very high vibrations, ready to make sense out of a lot of chaos, which this seems to be. You're free. You just got free. Wow. I'm gonna get the I'm just gonna get the tarot. I just want to confirm that I've got this right. Okay. Yeah, you've just been set free, or you set yourself free, and it was a shocking thing. I think it was very like unexpected. It was very like couldn't be avoided and was your soul's plan, but I think from your humanist perspective, it involves a commitment, and it involves maybe realizing that you weren't compatible on the adventure that you were on. You are handling it with grace, it says. And emotions, it's breaking you out of what I hear is an emotional prison. Yes, in order to feel this passionate just drive of like what you want and what's in your heart and what you know is right. And you're ready to cut off anyone that is not down with that. Oh, yes. I'm getting like little tingles in my brain when I look at this energy. I love it. Yeah. You are ready to set out with the inspired, what's inspired passion in you. You're ready to go on a journey, an adventure towards what has inspired passion in you. Your passion, your light, your heart, your sun. And you may be spending some time, or may have spent time, just stagnant, like thinking about things, looking at things from a different angle, waiting for the inspired action. Wow. Getting a little dizzy, and I have a couple thoughts about this. Like, if you haven't already been in the Hanged Man, if you haven't already been, like, waiting and looking for a different perspective, then you might be doing that now. But if you've already done that, I kind of feel like you're done with that, and it's time to take the action. But let's see what else the cards say. Oh, this one's flipped over. Oh, these whole bunches are. Yep. Ready to step into the Fool energy, which is the unknown, which is going where others won't go, saying what others won't say, inspired from your own inner urge. Okay, Spirit, thank you for that. And can we get some advice for pick 2? Just going to clean these up before I lay out the advice, okay? I'm being guided to do it this way, so let's see. Weakness scan. Okay, so what is it in your energy? What is it? Scan for your weaknesses. Know your weaknesses. Know your strengths. Know your weaknesses. It's important, because if you know your weaknesses, then you know where you're going to need to compensate or put in efforts, or you know what to trust in yourself and what can use some work, right? It's important to know your weaknesses in this situation. That you have divine wisdom stored in your body. That you can ask your body what it needs, what it wants. Being in the now moment. Okay? So when you're in the now moment, that's where all your power is, as long as you're focusing now, not the past, not the future. And if you're going into the Fool energy, you're going to want to be in the now moment. You're going to want to navigate it by the current moment, being in the now. That negative feeling, thoughts, so it's like you can identify when a negative feeling is present, or a doubt, or a fear, and just say, it is present, fear is present, doubt is present. You don't have to own it, you don't have to make it yours. And you can even ask your body, where is this doubt stored in my body? Scan your body for where it hurts, where it's stuck, where it's telling you it is. Right? And then you can shine your light on it. All that light that you have is ready to be shined on your own subconscious, on your own inner workings to find the solution and the way out. You're laying a new foundation for yourself by doing this. So pay attention to your foundation. Pay attention to what you're building on. You want to create things from the vibration of love, not fear, not doubt. Whatever you do, get into love first. Get into the feeling of love first. If you have a doubt, if you have a fear, you don't want to act from that. Right? It's probably not even true. So just get in the vibration where you can love yourself through it, so that you can get above it and act from there. Yeah, look, more Leo energy. Wow. Yeah, you need to express yourself. Look, we got soulmate. You need to, I'm saying you need to, and I don't want to word it that way, because I don't believe that you're someone that needs to be told what to do. But expressing yourself is so welcomed, so important, so wanted right now. But they are acknowledging that as you do this, there's going to be these doubts, there's going to be these negative things come up. They're just old programs. They're just old programs trying to get your attention and saying, oh, remember this? We don't want to do this. And it's like, no, that's just some old stuff that you want to disidentify from, by integrating it into you and saying, all right, like, I understand that you feel that way because that happened that time, but that doesn't mean that this is going to happen every time, right? Being in the now moment opens you up to the limitless possibilities, and you have your guidance in the now moment. You can hear your inspired action. You know what your soul came to do. You know what spirit wants to move through you in those moments where you're present. And that also is how you dissolve the fears and the doubts, is being present with them. right? You're not pushing them away, denying, suppressing, or running away from them. You're shining your light on them and saying, I got you. We're okay. Sure, you can be scared while we do this. You know? Wow. Woohoo! Yeah, I just feel like giggly and like, woohoo! That's how I feel about this. So I hope that you feel that too. I feel like you definitely are maybe like hyped up a little and ready to take action, ready to move forward with what you want, what's in your heart. So good for you, pick 2. I hope that's helpful in some way. Thank you for spending your time with me. Okay, I'm going to move on to pick 3. Okay. Pick 3, we are taking a look, asking Spirit for a message. So we're asking what's going on with you right now. And I'm also going to take a moment to take a sip of water. So staying hydrated is part of the message. Okay. Just starting with my astrology oracle. These are good because I can lay them out and face them towards you. Okay, something from your soul's perspective. This is the perspective from the sun. Okay. Something's being cut off, like an eclipse. Like you're getting a view of something that you couldn't see before. And it's about somebody specific in your life. And you are being shown that you can use your free will to break out of something that's like very concentrated, very kind of taking over, very like has had your attention for a while, and very like distracting from everything else. There's an angel present here for you. This person may be acting as an angel in your life. It's possible. But we are cutting something off, and that's closer here to the name. So it may be different for different people. Both things may be true. You may have an angel present in the way of a person as well. But there is a lot of chaos happening through this situation. Okay, that means you're entering into a place of unknown where new creations are taking place. Chaos is not necessarily a bad thing, but there's justice being served here. The scales are being balanced, and the person that you're involved with, you may have seen this person as a really rebellious woman, a really rebellious feminine energy who doesn't take no shit, who doesn't give a F about anybody, who might have been a bad mother, who might have been a bad friend, who might have been a mistress, might have been a strong, empowered woman, though. Doesn't have to be in the negative way, but this is Lilith energy, and Lilith is what we both fear and desire in a woman. And, oh, so you're using your free will to, I think, change how you feel, or to create justice. Maybe you've been holding judgments based on certain women's actions in your life. This is having to do with self-expression, expressing the sun. A light's been put on something for you, and boy, it's like all these piles are tied together. Dang. So you may have been drawn to watch more than one pile, but this is something where you're changing your foundation. You're being guided to do it, and it has to do with commitments. A commitment might be being broken off so that you can shine again. Or a commitment may be formed so that you can shine. You're a manifester. Perhaps you've wanted this for a long time. You've been thinking about it, wanting it, being pulled towards it. But it's been very unclear, and there have been a lot of illusions in it. But it's part of your life's purpose. Interesting. Yeah, so tied to the other two piles, so that's very interesting. But let's see what else it says about it. Look, you're building a rainbow bridge. Yeah, like however you used to think about women, I think you're finding a new way to think about it. You are maybe finding brotherly love where you couldn't before, for people that you may have judged more harshly. You may be getting a lot of readings at this time. You may be consulting your own cards too. You may be consulting an oracle to find answers about this, or they may be. Likely being very optimistic. Something shocking and that kind of broke you out of a pattern has been revealed. It's a foundational pattern, so it came in with your ancestry, and it was based on lack. Okay, so whatever you were doing that was based on lack, meaning there isn't enough, we have to compete, you know, hope's been restored. We've got Aphrodite. Aphrodite and Lilith, I mean, they were involved in starting a war. Yeah, there may have been some lies involved in this, and now that you know something, you might want to just like jump in and change it, right? Like just, but it's actually a step-by-step process, okay? There's more to uncover about this. And you're being shown a reflection of something that's in you. What do you see outside of yourself that's actually in you in the form of that actual thing or a judgment that you have about that thing? You're transforming that, and as you transform the judgment that you held, the judgment you held against that thing, which could be in yourself as well as the other, or just in the other, you are being made clear about commitments and what's safe to commit to. And maybe you held back from committing to somebody because of judgments that you held about them, about their reputation, about how they were seen, about whether or not they were a good mother, a good wife. You were lied to, maybe. Someone else gave you false information about someone that is now being revealed to you. You were given a perspective that put you in lack when you looked at somebody else. You saw it in somebody else. The judgment existed in you. It was implanted in you by someone else. Wow, this is quite a thing. Spirit, let's go for the tarot. Can you just see what the most important thing is about this? I feel like it's a soap opera at this point, but I know that's just life. Okay. You're being inspired to get closer to somebody. Maybe to dance with them, right? Yeah. You're being inspired to make music, dance, get closer to somebody. And it's like you're away from alone with them. You're away from your normal, you're away from cover, I want to say. You're away from whatever was holding you back from it before. Yeah, the wheels have, something has changed. The wheel has changed. This was always going to change, right? It couldn't sustain in the way it was. And now it feels unsafe because everything's in flux while things change. Feels like you might fall out of balance, but actually this is something that is very precious, that you're growing. You know, the changes are bringing you to something where all the seeds you've planted before are now going to grow, because now you see them in a way where you allow it. You know it can grow. You don't feel held back anymore the way that you were. The lie had been cleared out, and now you can see more clearly. I think it was a decision that you'd been trying to make for a long time. It was very difficult. You didn't know which way to go. And that's why the wheel just came in and changed everything, so that you can actually head towards the growth that you deserve for all the seeds you've planted, all the work you've done. It's time for it to come into fruition. I think that you had somebody near you that you cut off, that you cut out, but it was a hard decision for you. I think you held off making that decision for a long, long time, and may have even lied to yourself about how important it was to do that. Like, you maybe have known that you needed to cut it off, but then just like couldn't, or didn't want to, or wanted to see the best in someone when it was actually incompatibility or something. Like, it wasn't a good thing to commit to. It kept you from your seeds coming to fruition. It kept you from your abundance. Staying in that pattern, staying undecided, kept you from your abundance. You now can grow your abundance because you cut this off. So if you haven't cut it off yet, and you're seeing this as you recognize the situation where you would have to cut somebody out, or that somebody did lie to you, but you gave them another chance, another chance, another chance. This is trying to say to you, like, yeah, we see you doing that, and it's really nice that you're staying so optimistic about these people, but we've been trying to tell you. We've been trying to tell you, and it's like you're holding up your own stuff. It can't come to you because you're in conflict all the time. You're constantly defending yourself. You're constantly doing the acrobatics of trying to make excuses and jump through the hoops and avoid making the decision. Yeah, and that's what kept you stuck. That's what kept you around a concentration of energy that was like drowning you. The angels stayed with you the whole time and kept trying to shock you out of it, tell you. But maybe there was a fear of the chaos, a fear of the unknown, a fear of losing things that you had invested in, without ever knowing that actually your investments were only being held back by yourself. Wow, I got kind of dizzy. Okay, I'm going to ask for advice, okay? Spirit, what's the advice for pick 3, please? Could we please have some advice for pick 3? Weakness scan. Scan your body for the weaknesses. You know, where are the pains in your body? Where are the aches? That's where some of the things have been stored in you. The things where you held on to people or situations or lies, untruths, things that need to be understood. So they just need your presence. They need time to be looked at. Compromise. Where have you compromised who you really are, what you really need? Where have you put somebody else's needs as high as your own and called it right? Where could you compromise and create the win-win-win for everyone? Do you need to compromise with some of the things you've decided previously about the way to handle some of your weaknesses? Is there a compromise that you can come up with about how to handle certain weaknesses you have? Yeah, you're taking these things to a higher meaning, looking at the higher meaning in them. The 9th house is long distance travel, philosophy, religion. You know, are you being loyal and committed because you're married and you don't want to, and your religion says not to break up the marriage or something like that? Is there a belief in you that is holding you back from what your soul says it's time to set free? It's a foundational thing. Like, look at your foundation. Look at who you became due to the family home that you're in, and why you became that way. Ask your body what's out of alignment for you. Yeah, you're going to be digging below the surface. That's the advice, is to dig below the surface and see where you've compromised who you really are for somebody else's beliefs. Look, more advice says let go. Whatever the thing is you've been holding on to, maybe giving a lot of chances to certain people, it says let it go. have patience with yourself and the other. Oh, and step into the Fool energy, meaning you're a pioneer. Nobody's footsteps are there to follow in because you are pioneering. You're finding your own way out of this. You're using your own free will. You are deciding this for yourself, and you may need to communicate about it or do short distance travel. Okay? So communicating about this is important. There's some when you figure some things out, you might need to communicate about them. Right? Alright. It was kind of very similar to the first two piles, to be honest, but maybe we just needed to say it in different ways, right? So just take what resonates for you. You can watch all those piles too if it was hard for you to decide or something, you know. Okay, so pick 3. That is your reading. We're going to end it there. Thank you for spending your time with me. I hope it's helpful in some way. We're going to move on to pick 4. Really? I have 6 piles? Oh, I thought I had 5. That's funny. Okay. 1, 2, 3. This is 4. Yeah, I have 5, 6. Yeah, in the beginning, I'm pretty sure I said in the intro that I had 5 piles. So, if you made it this far with me thinking that I can't count, thank you. I'm just consulting into the astrology oracle and asking Spirit for a message. What's going on with pick number 4? What's going on with pick number 4, please, Spirit? Some nurturing, loving, family time, emotions, nostalgia. There may be something where you want to get some things done, right? Like you're urged, you feel like you need to like complete something. You know what you want to do and you just like want to get it done, but there's actually a step-by-step process that needs to be done. You are being guided at this time. You may have a passed on loved one with you. And what you're doing may involve parting ways in a situation where you were victimized, and you're leaving behind an expired soul contract. So it means that what you experienced in the situation that you're leaving behind, you were meant to experience it. It was part of the contract you had with those people or that person. And so you're being helped and guided because it's very difficult. It's being recognized that this is really, really, it could even be family that you're having to leave behind, but someone that certainly you cared about, that there's a lot of memories and nostalgia with, and someone who you would have gone to bat for, that you had their back. You want to forgive yourself and them. And forgiving doesn't mean that you don't part ways, but forgiving is important. So in order to forgive, you need to accept and acknowledge and love the way you feel. Love yourself through how you feel. And then you can possibly think about how they may feel and forgive them. Okay? So that's done with understanding, which is the same as compassion. There have been some really fluctuating emotions for a while on this, right? Like you've been like going back and forth on this for a while, like, oh, you know, maybe not knowing what to do or how to feel. And what that was is you were collecting the parts of you that had been victimized. You were kind of like bringing them in and acknowledging them. You may benefit from an astrology reading at this time. This is astro.com. So if you know an astrologer, you might want to check in with one, or you might want to look at your own chart. Right on that website, they have some sample free readings if you're new to reading. cafeastrology.com also has some free readings for beginners. Okay, so based on what you learned from that soul contract, right, you are reprogramming yourself. So you had decided to cope in a certain way, and that way allowed you to be victimized. And so there's something that you're going to adjust in the way that you operate. And I think it's an emotional issue. How do you handle your emotions? Do you ignore them, is what I heard. This is something that is in the makeup of your psyche. So I think you might have even carried it into this lifetime. And you're actually here to develop a new way, like a forward-thinking way that humanity hasn't done yet, but that will serve humanity. You are a humanitarian. You're being shown signs at this time. There's omens. Like it was always known that you were going to be the one to come in and change this. And you can't really move on until you do. And it may have to do with somebody who only looked at themselves, only really cared about their own image. Yes, yes. You may have been caring about your own image. That may have been the thing that got you victimized. Yeah. That cut you off from things that were important and that you're now collecting back into you. Ra, the sun god. Yeah, you're just having a light shined on something, and it may be uncomfortable, but it's showing you your weakness, Achilles. What do you see now as the weaknesses that exist for you that you needed to know about and that you can now move through? That was a very helpful soul contract that you just lived out. Okay, and even though parting ways can be difficult, you are set up to do this, and you are supported, and it is a step-by-step process. Like they realize there's going to be an untangling of things, like if you had joint assets, or if you had joint friends, or if there was a routine, things are going to have to be changed step at a time. And also in the repairing of you and the reprogramming of you, and how you operate and why you would go for those kind of situations and relationships and circumstances, or it could have even happened in a job. I think you've been getting a lot of signs about this. Okay, so the advice is, Capricorn, take responsibility, structure things so that you're very organized in how you handle this and go forward, right? Like, put yourself on a different schedule, change your schedule, implement a schedule, implement a step-by-step process. Give yourself some structure to make this change within, if that's what's going to be helpful, and I believe it is. And Capricorn also is masculine energy, and it's the devil energy, so it's like, look at those things, look at the father figure you had, look at the indulging that has been allowed to go on in the story you told about it, and things like that. Look at the loops. What have you been repeating? Where are the places where you've been in the groove of a pattern for a long, long, long time, probably since childhood, perhaps. Look, oh wow, you really, really should get a astrology reading, because look, we got birth chart. This is some of the advice, is to look at the birth chart, and we already said that in the reading. So I really want to urge you, check out astro.com. There's a lot of tutorials. There's groups and forums, like on Facebook. There's groups where you can ask people about your chart. Sometimes they'll give you free advice based on what they see, if you ask in the right group, in the right way. But also, there's just so many astrologers out there. Oftentimes, you can get a very affordable reading, although, it takes a long time. There's a big learning curve with astrology, so you want to look for somebody who's been doing it a while, who can tell you a lot. But if you follow your own guidance, you'll be led to the right one for you. Okay? And I do actually offer readings, intuitive readings. I do through my spiritual conversation. You can book that on my website. So here we have 1111. So there's really, this is another thing about omens and signs. And 1111 can sometimes represent an important relationship that's meant to happen. So it's like saying focus on that, if that resonates as true for you. But also look at the signs. Like, are you seeing 1111 in places? You know, and when you do, notice your thoughts at that moment. You know, and that's something to pay attention to. For all of the patterns that you've been in, there's been a benefit to having them. So in order to break out of them, you're going to want to identify the hidden benefit. So like, you've been doing this, maybe you didn't want to do it. Say it's smoking, right? Just say one of the patterns you noticed is smoking, and you wanted to quit a while ago, but you haven't been able to quit. There is a hidden benefit to not quitting. Once you understand that hidden benefit, then you can look at quitting. But you'll never be able to quit without acknowledging this aspect of it, because that's part of what needs to be understood to heal the loop, to take your power back from the loop. And I'm not saying it's smoking in this situation. I'm just saying, for instance, because I know, you know, smoking is just like a common thing to try to stop and not be able to. Compromise. We've got compromise is as some of the advice. So I think, you know, I don't generally believe in compromise. So it's interesting that when I made these cards, I was given compromise through my channel. But when I see it in this instance, it's like, you're looking at your hidden benefit of having the loop. So now you have to compromise. Like, well, how can you give that thing to yourself without the detrimental loop? Right? So compromise in that way. Restructure things, reorganize things so that they make sense and so that all of your wants are served. Okay? Not only your earthly body wants, but your soul's wants and your responsibilities. Okay? And you can look at what your soul wants by looking at your birth chart and speaking to an astrologer if you can't decipher it yourself. Okay? I hope that's helpful, pick 4. I want to thank you for spending your time with me, and I'm going to move on to pick 5. Hi, pick 5. Thank you for being here. So far we're looking at messages from Spirit, and we're starting by asking Spirit what's going on with you. So we're just going to ask Spirit, what's going on with pick 5? Kindred. You are a kind, kind person. A kind, gentle soul. Hold on here, I'm going to take a deep breath and kind of just clear. Admiration. First house. I think you're gaining a lot of confidence, and you're really being good with stepping into and moving through things that are a bit of chaos. Like, even though there may be chaos around you, I think you're handling it very well. You may even be proud, honoring yourself, like feeling like you've accomplished a lot and admiring yourself in a way. You know what you can be devoted to. You've gained some clarity, I think. Yeah, you have a reputation for being this kind person, and you're very well admired. Your reputation has mattered to you a lot. You are a manifesting generator. That means that you can speak things into existence. So this means really pay attention. What are you speaking about? What are you saying? You know, the universe doesn't hear the word no. So if you say, I don't want to be late, the universe just hears late, and then you're late. You know, you need to be extra aware of the things that you're speaking into existence. And know that even if you don't want something, that's not the language of the universe. The universe just hears the thing and doesn't put the no in front of it. So speak in such a way that you are speaking of the things that you want to create. Very important. Maybe you're already doing this. And it could be that you know that people admire you and see you as a kind person, but you also know that beneath that there is parts about you that you don't let be seen, that you don't particularly want to be seen. You may be trying to hide parts of yourself from others and wearing a mask. And I think it's chaotic parts of yourself, right? Now, it may be that you have just created a lot of chaos for yourself because of the way that you've been speaking. If you've been speaking to a lot of people who speak, you know, the way generally a lot of people speak, you may be creating a lot of chaos without even realizing that that's what you're doing. And you don't want it, and you don't want it to be part of you, so you're not owning it. But it's important to own what you've created so far, right? It will keep looping and keep happening until you own it and understand why it was there. And then you can move on and change, and you can actually be very authentic about that. Like, that would actually be an admirable thing. And it's part of your life's purpose to do so, to shine a light on what happens when you create your own chaos and what happens when you own it. And maybe it's not even like a blatant chaos. It's more of like a slight discomfort. It's a slight tension. And you may be feeling a slight tension when you're trying to keep up the mask and try not to be seen for the real chaos that's below the surface. And you have a soul family here. You've been relating to them, and maybe they are the ones who really admire you and who you really want to not let down. But you're mastering something. This is part of what you came to do. It's very important for you to do it, and it does have to do with how you relate to people. You've transcended a lot, you know, so that's why you are where you are with these, being such a kind person and being admired. And it's not wrong for you to still have more to transcend. It's not wrong for you to not have understood how you were such a powerful manifester to this point. That you were creating your own chaos to live out, and when you didn't want to live out chaos. So you got this. Like, I think they're just acknowledging you got this, and to move out of this pattern of creating chaos that you don't want to be known for, it's going to be a step-by-step process, because, I mean, let's face it, you're changing your operating program. It's a step-by-step process of collecting the fragmented parts of you that have been living them out so far. So each part has to be pulled back in and understood and loved and accepted so that it can stop looping. You're going to end up communicating about this and thinking about it a lot, and coming up with a new way to see things, right? You're going to operate under a whole new story, a totally different story than what you had been telling yourself before. Wow, this is really powerful. It's beautiful. I really love it. Alright, so pile 5. I mean, I want to just honor you for all the work that you have done to get to this point, to be a kindred soul. If you can stay kindred amongst your own chaos, I think it's a beautiful thing. And it's nothing to be ashamed of, but if you feel shame, that's something that you'll have to love and accept in yourself, right? These are all loving, acceptable things. And imagine if you've got all these eyes on you, all this respect and admiration, imagine how much more that will be when you're authentic about what you've been going through and how you get out of it. It's like you give permission to others to be that too, to not have to feel shame, to be able to move through something, because as you know, you can't move through it when you're denying it. And you've devoted yourself to doing this. This is part of what you've already been doing. This is just a different angle they're pointing out to you than what's going on right now. So you may have already known this coming into this reading. Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Some advice for pile 5. Yeah, just do that inner work. I heard also make it fun. Right? It doesn't have to be a bad time. You know, you have plenty of moments of peace in between, and you know how to do the inner work. So, and then we've got Scorpio. Dig below the surface. Let things die off that don't need to be there anymore. Let those stories of hell go. You know, just it's going to be a step-by-step process of changing the way you speak to yourself. Look at the reflection of what you see outside of yourself to see what you've been creating. All that is what you've created. So you can just look outside yourself and know that you created it. The root of it is in you, and that's where it will be changed. So we had soul family, and now we have soulmate. So you have mates around. You have mates around you offering you reflection and offering you help to deep dive, to do your inner work. You can call upon your friends if you need to, but you need to just set the intention. Like, is your intention to do this inner work, to be lined up with soulmates? Then set that intention with everything you do. You know, if your intention is not to be a victim, then make sure you're not going at this from being a victim, right? Like, oh, poor me, I have to go do more work, more inner work, it never ends. No, your intention is actually to live a good life, so just make sure you're doing that with everything you do. Oh, I'm going to be living life more easily and more fun right now, so it's okay if I love this part of myself that's been living in this pattern that I didn't love, and so it can join me on the fun. Go for it. Yeah, you're being cheered on. You got this. You're on a momentum. Yeah, I feel that. You got this. You're like so close to being out of this and fully authentic. Yeah. And it's not that you haven't been authentic the whole time, you know. Some people could see past the mask anyway, you know. So it's like, why not let the other people see too? Right? It's who you really are. It's what you're really doing. It's like you're not slacking off or anything. You're not staying victimized or stuck in it. You're moving through it. It's okay to let some people see that you trust. And you don't have to either, right? Like, you can just use the reflections that you see off others to know what's in you. But you got this. I really feel that strongly. And thank you. Thank you for doing this good work. Thank you for being here with me, spending your time. And I hope this is helpful in some way. I feel like it was more like a cheerleader kind of thing, yeah, we see you. Okay, and I'm going to end your reading there and move on to pick number 6. Hello, pick number 6. So what we've been doing is looking for a message from Spirit, so we've been asking Spirit to tell us where you are at right now. So we're just going to take a deep breath. I'm going to clear the air. And we're asking Spirit, what you are looking at a spiritual thing where you've been shown something that you can't unsee. And once you saw it, you wanted to change it right away. You wanted to say, oh, well, can't do that anymore. But this is saying there's a step-by-step process that has to be followed. It's a matter of taking steps. You can't just change it. There's a cardinal cross energy here. That means a lot of working parts are present. You've seen into the surface of something, and now something has to die. Something is being let go of. Something is being reborn. And it changes how you show yourself to the people you know, and how you see yourself as well. You're healing a pattern. So maybe it's like you saw something in yourself and now you're like, whoa, I don't want to act like that anymore. I think it's important that you're being very kind to yourself through this process, like not beating yourself up for how you used to be, but actually loving yourself through it, making it okay. And I think this has restored a lot of hope for you. And maybe you originally saw it in other people and then realized it was in yourself, right? And this is the turning point. Look, a fortunate turning point, a change of events here. Okay. Yeah, more healing. Wow, you have such powerful healing intention and energy. And you're just having this light shined. It may have been revealed to you that where you were working against yourself. Yep, your reputation is being improved upon, but also changed, right? And this is happening from down below, right? Down below the surface. We've got Scorpio and Pluto. That's where the change is happening. It's happening within your subconscious. You can't unsee this. You're very, very powerful. I think it's like that you've understood the power that you have. And you maybe even have understood that you have the power to create. not just through acts of creating things in the physical world, but like through your intention, through your spiritual energy, through your spiritual inheritance. And you are devoted to that. I believe that you are maybe even perhaps devoting yourself to continuing to do that. You may be communicating about this. And this was the time to do this. Like, it's not supposed to be done right away, because it was always meant to be a step-by-step process at the right time. And this is something to celebrate. You may be celebrating it all along the way. Celebrate how far you've come. Celebrate that you made this change, that you made this step, that you made this discovery, that your awareness has expanded to the degree it has. And you may already be celebrating, or it's important to celebrate. Wow. Maybe I've been watching too much TikTok because I heard "Go Little Rock Star," which just made me laugh. Okay. Dropped the cards here. Oh, look at this. You got celebrate again. Celebrate your hopes and dreams. This is the advice card, so just gonna clear these out. Celebrate. Yeah, really celebrate how far you've come. For you to get that twice, you gotta do it. You have come so far. Celebrate it. Keep celebrating. Celebrate that you're alive. Celebrate your hopes and dreams and your friendships. Celebrate what you've learned. Celebrate that you have another day here. Fourth house, so pay attention to your foundation, where you're living, who you are at home, who you're spending your time with at home, things like that. Your relationships, look at your relationships. Your one-on-one relationships and partnerships need to be looked at and maybe even celebrated. Like, these are the people that got you where you are. And what's in front of me? So if it's not in front of you, you don't have to worry about it at this time. That's what this is saying. It's saying your hopes and dreams, the ones in front of you. The friends, the ones in front of you. Your relationships, the ones in front of you. And receptive, be in the receptive mode. That means the creative, the feminine energy, the ones where you can, it's like where you lose track of time. Then you're in the receptive mode. It's like you are able to receive. And it may be like doing domestic duties and things like that, right? Being in the receptive mode. So that's the advice that Spirit has for you, pick 6. I hope that's helpful in some way. It sounds really exciting. It sounds like you're doing a wonderful thing. It sounds like an exciting turning point and time in your life. And I hope this is helpful in some way. Thank you for spending your time with me. I'm pretty sure I just said that already, but I will say it again because I really mean it. And we didn't spend that much time together, did we? So maybe I'll see you next time.